is going to take the Moon Blast and basically takes no damage from that whatsoever. Over the last couple regulations in Pokemon VGC, we've seen various support Pokemon used in various different ways. Everything from Indeedee using Follow Me and Psychic Surge, to Mousehold using Follow Me and Beat Up on Annihilate, to the most recent iteration being Among Us using Rage Powder and Spore to just absolutely dominate the VGC scene. However, with the introduction of Regulation E and the Pokemon from the Teal Mask coming into play, we have a new contender for what could possibly be the best support Pokemon we have seen in quite a while. And wouldn't you know it, it's CLEFAIRY of all Pokemon. So today, let's take a quick look at how you can use CLEFAIRY and build yourself the ultimate support Pokemon, not only for VGC, but for 4-man raids and possibly even a playthrough as well. With that, let's take a look at this cute little guy. And yes, you heard me right, I did say CLEFAIRY and not Clefable, because we are indeed talking about CLEFAIRY today. Believe it or not, CLEFAIRY is superior to Clefable, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But for right now, this is CLEFAIRY, this adorable little Pokemon. It is fairy typing, just straight fairy typing, and for the Terra type on this one, you really want to go with something defensive. A good defensive Terra type in this one would be Grass. Grass Terra would be really good on this CLEFAIRY. You can make it whatever level you want. It needs to be at least level 50. I just make all mine level 100 for continuity's sake and make things easier for me. And our held item for this one is really what makes this Pokemon shine. For our held item for CLEFAIRY, we are giving it Eviolite. Eviolite, if you are unfamiliar with it, is an item that when held by a Pokemon, lump boosts the defense and special defense stat of a Pokemon that can still evolve. So since CLEFAIRY can still evolve into Clefable, it gets a massive defense boost on this one. And I mean absolutely massive. Which is good because you can see even at level 100, its defense stats are not that great. Its defense right now, even with the EVs that we have in it, is at 162, and its special defense is at 203. And actually, if we take this a step further and we drop this down to level 50, where you would actually be at if you were competing with this Pokemon, you're going to be at a defense stat of 84 and a special defense stat of 111, which is honestly not great for this guy. But for our EVs on CLEFAIRY, we have max EVs in our HP, so 252 there, and then we have 128 EVs on both our defense and our special defense to get those stats up as high as we can get them. We're also running a sassy nature on this one, which is going to drop our speed, making this Pokemon quite slow, but boosting our special defense as well. The ability on this one is Friend Guard. This is CLEFAIRY's hidden ability. Friend Guard is a phenomenal ability that reduces the damage dealt to allies on this one. Essentially, you're giving yourself a permanent life screen and reflect while CLEFAIRY is out on the field, which is honestly phenomenal. That makes this one even more useful. And for a moveset on this one, this is where things get really interesting because this is just straight support. You will be doing 0 attacking with this one. So if this is the last Pokemon left in your party, you're kind of SOL at this point, okay? But the moveset for this one, Follow Me, is very important here. Follow Me is going to allow you to redirect all attacks at you instead of at your opponent. It gives you plenty of time to set up. Or if you have a Pokemon that needs to be able to attack that's not necessarily the fastest, this is a good way to make sure that that Pokemon gets a chance to attack. Follow Me is a great support move in VGC and not so much in raids, but this one, super useful. Life Dew. Life Dew is kind of the bread and butter of this one. You could also use Heal Pulse on this one as well. Heal Pulse, I believe, is an egg move that you would have to get. But Life Dew is not only going to restore the HP of you, of CLEFAIRY, but it's also going to restore the HP of your partner Pokemon that is on the field as well. So this one, even though CLEFAIRY is super slow, as long as it can survive the attack, this is a great move to make sure that if you have a Pokemon that is low HP, you can get that Pokemon back up to possibly survive another attack, like another onslaught attack. This one, honestly, could be a game saver in a lot of battles going forward. Along with that, we have Helping Hand. Now, Helping Hand is a move that's on here that honestly could be like replaced with something else. You could replace this with Encore if you wanted to, but Helping Hand is honestly super useful if you're gonna come in and you have a Pokemon that is gonna do some solid damage, but needs to do just that extra little bit to KO one of the Pokemon on the other side of the field. Helping Hand honestly could be the difference between a win and a loss when you're playing like competitively, when you're playing in a double battle. So Helping Hand, super useful. And then Protect, of course, so that way we can protect ourselves and keep Clefairy on the field as long as possible. Now I know what you're thinking. Why in the world would you choose Clefairy as your support Pokemon when you already have access to Pokemon like Amoonguss and Indeedee and even Mousehold in certain cases that are already available in the current regulation? Well, number one, with Eviolite, this thing becomes a defensive tank. The addition of Life Dew is absolutely phenomenal and gives us a healing option that is not Pollen Puff. And this thing, honestly, when you're using it in battle, if you're using it with the correct team and a Pokemon that would benefit from the Follow Me, Helping Hand, and Life Dew combo, just does amazing things. I mean, just check out what it does in double battles. So, when used in battle and paired with a solid attacking Pokemon like Ogerpon, Ogerpon, by the way, gonna be massive this season in VGC, Clefairy is going to give us a huge competitive advantage here. Because of that Eviolite and because of what its defense stats are, if we come in and we run Follow Me with this Fluttermane being out on the field right now, we're going to direct the attack away from Ogerpon and direct it into Clefairy, and it should do basically nothing at this point. Which at this point, if we do this, we Terra Fire and go straight into Fluttermane, providing that Amoonguss doesn't do Rage Powder on this one. We should be able to get Fluttermane off the field in turn 1, which is absolutely huge. So Ogerpon absolutely going to put in some work here, but Clefairy with the huge Follow Me is going to take the Moonblast and basically takes no damage from that whatsoever. Gives us the chance to come in and just absolutely curb stomp Fluttermane. So Clefairy at this point has already done its job by taking out one of the strongest Pokemon in the VGC format at the moment. And yet again, we have another interesting type matchup here with Chien-Pao, one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, that isn't really going to do a whole lot to Ogerpon, but does have Sucker Punch, which could really wreck us. Like, could be an issue here. We can actually negate that, or even Sacred Sword for that matter of fact, by just simply Follow Me, and then being able to run Ivy Cudgel straight into Chien-Pao. So Clefairy, again, if you are wanting to be able to run a super offensive team and just have a Pokemon that does absolutely nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing. But if you want to be able to run a super offensive team that is going to be able to do all the damage on the field and have Clefairy just be basically your damage sponge, Clefairy, you're really not going to find a better support Pokemon than Clefairy at this point. And of course, if you find yourself in a situation like this where you've got Amoonguss using Rage Powder and... Oh, he came into me. All right, fantastic. That's awesome. You can always use Life Dew on your Clefairy in order to just get that HP back, get as much HP back as you possibly can. So we go from 70 to 111 there, which doesn't seem like a lot, but honestly could be the difference between Clefairy surviving one more turn or 2 more turns at that point. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a monstrous, bulky defensive tank of a Clefairy that can not only redirect attacks into itself and survive just about anything. I mean, if it can tank a Moonblast from Fluttermane and take no damage at all, basically, there's not a whole lot that's gonna do a ton to it. So, get out there. If you're gonna do competitive this season, I suggest if you're looking for something to start with, try Clefairy, see what you can make work with it, and let me know down in the comments below what combinations you would use with an Eviolite Clefairy. And this one just happens to time out perfectly because there is a Clefairy mass outbreak event running this weekend where there will be large mass outbreaks of Clefairy, both in Paldea and in the land of Kitakami. So even if you don't have the DLC, you will be able to get yourself a Clefairy this weekend. I would suggest get one, build this, and at least give it a shot. See what you can do for it, and let me know down in the comments below how it works for you guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.